Okay, so the big news breaking this morning, Pope Francis has passed away. He was 88.
Yeah, announced Monday morning, April 21st, 2025. Just came through a little while ago.
It really feels like a significant moment, and, well, we wanted to dive right into the immediate reactions, the details we're getting.
Absolutely. We're mainly looking at a CBS News report that's giving us a lot of the initial information, the responses.
Right, so our mission here, for you listening, is to sort of unpack that initial impact.
Mhm.
What are people saying? What are the key tributes?
Let's start with those reactions. It's quite telling how quickly leaders responded.
It really is. President Trump, for instance.
Yeah, he was very quick, posted on Truth Social, rest in peace, Pope Francis, may God bless him and all who loved him.
And then later he spoke about it too.
Yes, at the White House Easter egg roll. He um he called Pope Francis a very good man who loved the world.
Love to love the world.
And he especially loved people that were having a hard time. A very positive, respectful tone.
Yeah, definitely sounds respectful. It kind of makes you think, whatever political differences might have existed, a moment like this,
Mhm.
it seems the Pope's position almost goes beyond that.
That's a really good point. It highlights that sort of global moral authority, perhaps. And
Mhm.
Trump didn't just stop at words. No, there's a formal presidential proclamation as well, ordering flags at federal buildings, military bases, here and abroad.
To be flown at half-staff.
Exactly. Until sunset on the day of interment. That's, a pretty significant symbolic gesture.
It really is a formal acknowledgement of his stature on the world stage.
Hmm.
And Vice President Vance also shared his thoughts, right?
Mm.
His reaction seemed quite personal.
It did. He offered condolences, of course, to millions of Christians. But the striking thing is, he literally just met Pope Francis
Yes, met him.
on
What?
Easter Sunday at the Vatican, just, the day before the announcement.
Wow.
And he mentioned on social media, he said the Pope looked obviously very ill during that meeting.
Gosh, to have seen him so recently,
Yeah.
that must make the news hit differently.
You'd imagine so. He also remembered a homily Pope Francis gave early in the COVID pandemic, called it beautiful, something that clearly stuck with him.
It adds that human layer, doesn't it, these
Mm.
personal moments.
hmm
And speaking of context, the White House released some photos.
Right, yeah. Two specific ones. One was President Trump and Melania Trump meeting Pope Francis back in May 2017.
Okay.
And the other was Vice President Vance with the Pope from that meeting just this past Easter Sunday. So visual context for these interactions.
Right, helps paint the picture. Okay, let's shift to the official announcement itself.
It came from Cardinal Kevin Farrell. He's the Camerlengo of the Apostolic Chamber.
And for folks listening, Camerlengo, he's essentially the caretaker, right,
Yeah.
during this period between popes. Confirms the death, manages things until a new pope is elected.
Precisely. Cardinal Farrell announced the time of death as 7:35 a.m. local time. And his statement really tried to capture Pope Francis's focus.
What did it emphasize?
His dedication, to service,
Yeah.
service of the Lord in the church. His teachings on gospel, values faith, courage, love, and very centrally, his focus on the poorest and the marginalized.
That focus on the marginalized.
Yeah,
That was definitely a hallmark of his papacy, wasn't it?
absolutely. A defining theme. He led the world's, roughly 1.3 billion Catholics?
Since 2013,
Yeah.
so over a decade.
Yeah. And this news comes after, some recent health issues.
Right, he was hospitalized not long ago.
Less than a month ago, yeah.
Oh.
Released from a hospital in Rome, treatment for a respiratory infection that turned into bubble pneumonia. So his health was already a concern.
Hmm.
But, despite that, he made that appearance on Easter Sunday, brief, but he was there in St. Peter's Square, blessing the crowds.
Just saying, brothers and sisters, happy Easter.
Exactly. Seeing him there, even knowing he'd been ill, it sort of underlined his commitment, I think.
Yeah, dedication right to the end, it seems. And tributes you mentioned are coming in from all over.
Pouring in, yeah. We mentioned Trump and Vance, but others too. Former President Joe Biden, for example.
What does he say?
He called Pope Francis one of the most consequential leaders of our time.
Consequential. That's strong. Speaks to his impact far beyond just the Catholic Church.
It really does. And the CBS report also flags a few other related points, sort of immediate consequences.
Okay, like what? Practical details emerging now.
Yeah, things like Pope Francis apparently left a last will and testament, which is standard, but, relevant now.
Sure.
The Vatican also stated the official cause of death, stroke, and heart failure.
Okay, provides that medical clarity.
Mm-hmm. And footage of his final public appearance, that Easter blessing, is available for people who want to see it.
Right. And just to reiterate that point about Vance, his reaction coming literally the day after seeing the Pope.
Yeah,
It highlights the suddenness.
exactly. And one final point from the report. The canonization of the first millennial saint, which was planned,
Has been postponed.
yes, postponed following the Pope's death. These kinds of church processes often pause during the interim period, the sede vacante.
Got it. Okay, so let's just recap quickly. Pope Francis passes away at 88. We've seen these immediate reactions, particularly from President Trump, Vice President Vance, both the formal statements and those more personal reflections.
Right. And we've touched on the official announcement, his recent health, the cause of death, and some of those immediate follow-on effects like the postponed canonization.
It's a lot to take in. A major global figure.
Definitely. These initial hours give us that first important snapshot.
It does make you wonder, though, thinking about his constant message, that emphasis on, global unity, supporting the marginalized. How will that specific legacy, that core message, carry forward now? How will it continue to shape things on the world stage?
That's the big question, isn't it? Something to really consider as this all unfolds.